All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to count down 10 absolutely mind-blowing facts about a dinosaur that has seriously captured the world's imagination lately. I'm talking about the apex predator that famously dethroned the T-Rex in the Hollywood blockbusters, the colossal Giganotosaurus. Today, we're peeling back the movie magic to look at the hard, fascinating science. So, you know the movies, right? But it begs the question, was this Patagonian predator really the ultimate, unbeatable apex killer we saw on the big screen? Or did evolution craft something even more specific and arguably even more terrifying? Well, stick with me because by the end of this countdown, you are going to have the definitive answer. Kicking things off with fact number 10. We simply have to start with the sheer physical scale of this animal. When we talk about giants, Giganotosaurus completely redefines the word. It was actually longer than the largest known T-Rex specimen ever discovered. While a massive T-Rex, like the famous skeleton nicknamed Scotty, reached about 42 feet in length, Giganotosaurus stretched up to a massive 45 to 47 feet long. Now, both of these absolute units tip the scales at a staggering 8 to 10 tons, but Giganotosaurus had this distinctly longer, more slab-like body profile. It's basically the size of a prehistoric school bus. Moving right along to fact number 9. You might be wondering, how did we even find out about this prehistoric titan? The story of its discovery is literally straight out of an adventure novel. Picture this, it's 1993 and an amateur fossil hunter named Ruben Dario Carolini is just cruising in his dune buggy through the badlands of Neuquén, Argentina. Suddenly, he spots something massive poking out of the dirt. It was a giant dinosaur tibia. That single lucky observation led paleontologists to uncover an incredible 70% complete skeleton, and it was eventually named Giganotosaurus Carolinii in his honor, which roughly means the giant southern lizard of Carolinii. All right, fact number 8. We've talked about its massive body, but now we really need to look at its horrifying head, because this beast possessed the longest skull ever recorded for a theropod dinosaur. We are talking up to 1.95 meters, that's 6.4 feet long. That skull is literally taller than most of you listening right now. It also had a very distinct profile. Think rough, coarse nasal bones, a prominent crest right in front of its eyes, and a highly unique, kind of flattened bony chin at the bottom of its lower jaw. Which brings us to fact number 7. Let's take a much closer look at what actually filled those record-breaking jaws. Giganotosaurus belonged to a terrifying family of theropods called carcharodontosaurids, and that mouthful of a name literally translates to lizards with shark teeth. When you see the evidence, you absolutely understand why. Instead of the thick, bone-crushing spikes you'd find in a T-Rex, Giganotosaurus was armed with 8-inch, laterally compressed teeth with heavily serrated edges. These were precision blades. They were evolutionarily designed for slicing through flesh and causing massive blood loss, not for crunching through solid bone. Down to fact number 6. Now, this is where the biomechanical science gets incredibly cool. How does a multi-ton giant like this actually move without, collapsing? The physics behind giant bipeds are fascinating. Biomechanical models created by scientists prove that if an 8 to 10-ton animal like Giganotosaurus were to trip and fall while running at a full sprint, the impact would cause severe, likely lethal injuries. Its tiny arms were absolutely no help in breaking a fall. So its absolute top speed wasn't limited by muscle power alone, it was limited by what scientists call a stability indicator. Essentially, that's the maximum speed it could travel while still safely recovering its body equilibrium with every single step. And the detail here is stunning. By meticulously mapping out the pelvic musculature and calculating the moment of inertia for those massive hind legs, researchers could pinpoint exactly how long it took the dinosaur to swing its leg forward to catch itself mid-stride. It is a brilliant and frankly deadly balancing act of physical forces. Okay, fact number 5. So what was the exact mathematical speed limit scientists calculated from all those muscle models? Well, despite the extreme, potentially fatal danger of falling over, the data estimates that Giganotosaurus could still hit a terrifying top speed of 14 meters per second. To put that into perspective, an average human maxes out around 8 or 9 meters per second. Even Olympic sprinters average about 10. Make no mistake, if you were out in the open, this 9-ton giant could easily run you down. Fact number 4. What on earth was this speed demon hunting in the hot, arid deserts of prehistoric South America? Well, it was hunting the absolute largest land animals to ever exist. Giganotosaurus lived right alongside the 100-ton long-necked Argentinosaurus. Now, to take down prey that's literally 10 times your size, you can't just bite and hold on. You'd be crushed. Instead, it employed a relentless wear-down ambush strategy, using those shark-like teeth to inflict deep, slicing wounds, essentially letting blood loss do the heavy lifting. Even wilder, fossil bone beds of its close relatives, like Maposaurus, show multiple individuals buried together. This strongly suggests these giants might have hunted in coordinated packs. Imagine a pack of these things coming at you. No thank you. Fact number 3. Now, size really isn't everything in evolution, and this giant actually had a surprising anatomical weakness compared to its famous Hollywood rival. For all its massive bulk, Giganotosaurus wasn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. Its brain was only about half the size of a T-Rex's. But you know what? It didn't need to be a genius. T-Rex was hunting highly agile, heavily armored prey that required complex tactical thinking. Giganotosaurus, it was hunting giant, slow-moving sauropods. It just needed to locate these walking walls of meat. Plus, its eyes were positioned firmly on the sides of its head. That gave it wide peripheral vision, perfect for spotting massive herds on the horizon, rather than the forward-facing binocular depth perception of a T-Rex. All right, fact number 2. It is time to officially ruin some movie magic and bust Hollywood's biggest prehistoric myth. We all saw them battle it out in the movies, but the actual data tells a completely different story. Giganotosaurus lived in South America 97 million years ago. T-Rex lived in North America 66 million years ago. Guys, they lived on entirely different continents and were separated by over 30 million years. The Earth's environment had drastically changed by the time T-Rex even entered the evolutionary stage. A real-world meeting between these two was literally impossible. And finally, fact number 1. Okay, so since they couldn't meet in reality, what is the scientific verdict on the ultimate hypothetical heavyweight matchup? If we toss them into a time-traveling arena, who actually wins? Well, T-Rex had that jackhammer bite, 8,000 pounds of bone-crushing force, plus a stockier, more agile build that allowed it to turn and pivot much faster. But Giganotosaurus was longer, possessed those lethal slicing fangs for instant massive bleeding, and potentially had pack tactics on its side. Ultimately, paleontologists agree it's a total toss-up. In a fight between these apex predators, the winner would probably just be whoever managed to get a good, solid bite in first. Giganotosaurus perfectly proves that evolution pushed the boundaries of life in completely different, fascinating ways across the globe. Which leaves us with a really thrilling question to end on. If a giant this massive was only spotted by pure chance, by an amateur just driving a dune buggy in the 1990s, what other undiscovered titans are still hiding beneath the sands of the Patagonian desert right now, just waiting to rewrite history all over again? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep wondering, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.